Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news, the industry, and of course, stream for fun. This one is definitely going to step on some toes, but I do think it's important to talk about this because I think it's out in the open. We understand basically what's been going on. There's no real denial of this anymore. And I've made some videos about this in the past. But hey, if this isn't for you, if you got kind of a thin skin, that's okay. But we're going to be talking about BlackRock. We're going to be starting with this and then we're going to be moving into a study, which the most easiest compiled is through Fox News, but I don't particularly like them either. They're just the other side of the coin of basically CNN. And then the other thing as well is that we're going to start looking at the video games and how this DEI stuff actually has really kind of invested and gotten stuck into our gaming industry, and players are ultimately rejecting it. I think that's really clear at this point. The only way forward is, since it's a business and it's an open market, is that the Western studios, United States, Canada, and most of Europe, well, they have to start actually making games that sell. Because it's a lot easier to make games. There's a lot of saturation out there, whether it's live service or not. And the economy is negative and deteriorating across the world globally. It's not just a few countries, it's pretty much all of them. And so, yeah, they got to start looking for that money. So we're going to go with BlackRock first, and then, we'll go from there.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay.
So I really want to focus on what he just said. Again, the whole point of DEI was a specific narrative that was pushed, and that it was all about the money. So I don't necessarily believe that this was just about what BlackRock believes as a company or what Larry Fink believes as a CEO or anybody else. I think ultimately they're all in the business about money, and profit is their Bible. And so that's all they're focused on. And they're going to just go wherever that money is. Now, we're going to dig into some more. Now, this was 2 years ago, but it is definitely starting to shift. And a lot of us have already known that, but yeah, even he's admitting it now. Let's listen.
Gas and oil. And so to me, more importantly today, I think society has moved into a better position of having more pragmatism. And what you're hearing from me is I'm echoing what we're hearing from our clients.
So the money is really no longer there. It's not showing up like it's supposed to. And I have this on TradingView. No, this is not a promotion. I just like using them. You can use them too. They're free. But when we take a look, COVID was a mess, okay? And generally this follows the S&P 500, as most indexes do. But the whole idea is that if your index is made with the cost to buy it, because there is usually a fee to buying these stocks or being a part of certain indexes, well, it better perform better than just the S&P 500, because that's very, very cheap to buy as like stock trading. So, but as we can see here, that S&P 500 started going up in October of 2022, and BlackRock just kind of stayed steady for another 18 months. It wasn't really making any money. And the DEI push that we've had, I mean, this was just a lot of stimulus money, right? So that makes sense. And BlackRock also made a lot of money on that, but then they lost it all. And they've kind of been under trending the S&P 500 ever since. This is crazy. Basically, ever since June of 23. They've never really been, and they're still, struggling now. So they're going to focus on wherever the money is. And if that's not in DEI or some certain narrative anymore, well, then they're no longer going to be pushing that. Now, of course, there's been a change with administrations, and that's exactly my point. Okay, there was definitely money that we know of. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention too that BlackRock is also a $155 billion market cap right now. So yeah, big company, a lot of investments. They control a lot of the investing around the world. And again, if you control the money, well, then you have a lot of influence over these companies. We take a look over at Fox. They talked about this, finding out that the Center for Reviewing in America and Functional Government Initiative, they found that 460 programs across 24 government agencies in the Biden administration basically diverted resources to DEI initiatives at least $1 trillion over a few years, which is crazy. This is crazy. That's so much money. And now we're having a push, to go the other way with the other administration. I don't care if you like either current or past president. It doesn't matter to me. My point is that the companies and their initiatives have not really been about the customers. It's been about this initiative about hiring certain people. And now let's get into video games. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention this too a little bit. This is, of course, just a bit of a rundown. But like we've had, kind of newer DEI programs like talent management, FBI. And I think that the government ultimately has funded a lot of this stuff. We know that some of the games, too, have also been government funded that we're going to go over. And that there's also grants and like special financial aid that you can kind of like apply for. And you have to meet these certain criteria for your game. And of course, DEI initiative, those definitely exist. But this is also in government programs, too, and not just in the United States. This is also just all over the place. Now, we have some old ones, of course, but then we've been having this cancellation, this kind of rollback with the current president, with Trump. And, the fact that there's been 1,500 DEI-related grants that have been terminated or removed, and also terminated multiple DEI-focused research grants and stuff. It's just kind of insane that all of this money is being thrown out there. And now that the money is drying up, I think this is why really the narrative is changing. Is that it was never about the real belief about the DEI in the first place. Not that some of these hires that have been hired in these positions, with a lot of the retirements that we had during and after COVID, well, the positions had to be filled, and well, a lot of these people focused on DEI, and so hey, of course they're going to push and promote this, but the general consumer has been rejecting all of this. And yeah, this has not just been, of course, the United States. This is also Canada. This is also Europe. This is like all over the freaking place. It's kind of insane. And then now getting into video games, we found out that government-funded video games like Duskborn and Cat Park had specific narratives that were spun, and that was actually part of the idea, right, to basically go against misinformation or whatever. And for those of you that know, Duskborn, Cat Park, I've never heard of. But yeah, we're finding out, that there was basically 1.4 million US dollars equivalent, funding for this game. And then also an additional 150,000 euros through the Creative EU grant program. And yeah, this is kind of some of the stuff that's being funded. And then too, a lot of these games are not successful. But again, this is not just necessarily small games. We're also looking at some bigger ones. So we're going to start running through some. But again, just and the players are in mass are starting to figure out really, they can just kind of tell. And I would say too, just to be fair, that sometimes it's believed that there's DEI in a video game, or that's the intention, but that is not necessarily accurate or the focus, right? Okay, like The Witcher 4, I think that's a perfect example. I think that's a normal video game, right? It makes sense. I mean, she's already been a character through the Witcher story, and so it makes sense that she's going to take over as that character, and or that, Lara Croft or something, right? Okay, they've already been established for a while. And while most of us don't have the issue with that type of representation, it's the pushing of the narrative that's the problem, and that it continues to be pushed. So here we have 1348, which again did not do very well. And I want to say too that while these DEI hires, they're not necessarily very good at making video games. I also want to show, too, that Avowed, that while it was really kind of in there or not, the darker, brooding environment we were kind of waiting for in art style, well, that didn't happen. It's more fluffy, it's more whatever. And then, the art director said some not-so-nice stuff. And some of the craziness, too. Some of these DEI-minded people, devs working on some of these video games, is that they were happy that somebody was murdered for their beliefs that were peaceful. And uh, my word, like, have we really gone that far to deteriorate in society? It's kind of nuts. But yeah, Avowed was another one. Again, did not sell very well, and just the sheer part that the art director said what he said just made people not want to buy the game. Or some people just tried it on Game Pass. I need to acknowledge that too. And maybe it wasn't for them, so they didn't overly care. But that also would also, affect the sales too on Steam, because if you don't have to buy the game, you can try it on Game Pass, and that'll probably be enough for most people. We also had Dragon Age Veilguard. This also was supposed to be a live service game, which did not help, but it also had that DEI focus as well, and the narrative and the writing was really bad. And again, these DEI hires, in some cases, they don't know how to do their job well. They don't have the experience like the previous generation did with a lot of those retirements that we had. We also had Concord. While the gameplay and some of the mechanics and stuff was fine, the amount of money that was spent was not, and then some of the character designs were absolutely awful. Again, built for the modern audience, which, again, just was not successful. Here's Duskborn. Enough said. Waste of money. The Suicide Squad was another one. Again, built as another live service game, built to broaden the audience for the modern audience. And then the other issue, too, is just some of the characters that we had, like Mrs. Freeze and Lawless, and the Joker was a joke. And, man, it sucked. It was so frustrating. And then there was nothing special about the gameplay. And then, too, we also had some of the stuff, too, where there was definitely, kind of this cancel culture around some of these devs in video games because, again, they did not go with the narrative of DEI. And so there's this kind of push. And I want to read this. This is from Merrick. I can't say his last name, but this is the CEO of CI Games, the publisher of Lords of the Fallen, which Lords of the Fallen 2 is coming out. I'm very excited for that. But a lot of dev studios chase DEI hires during the hiring boom, prioritizing ideology over efficiency. I also think there were incentives for that, of course, financial incentives. So that's why they were doing that. And then I also think that's just kind of who was available. Because, again, a lot of those retirements across the globe, okay, they didn't want to have to deal with COVID and the stimulus was making their retirements go up a lot. And so, yeah, they were pretty happy. So, yeah, they were ready to be done. That was all right. Some, too, were also pushed out, which is frustrating. That shift how studios worked, what games they made, and who they made them for. Completely agree. This often alienated core audiences. To justify it, they invented a modern audience that was really just a vocal minority, very loud, though, and pushed as the majority, which was not accurate. Activism over output doesn't scale. The results: layoffs, closures, underwhelming games, and a mega loss of money. Yeah, the amount of money that we've lost on this kind of thing is really insane. I mean, it's got to be tens of billions by now. Grifters, the real grift was selling this as progress, and that's nasty. Players woke up, they know they can demand what's right and choose the games that deliver. The industry is course correcting. I spoke early, glad if it helped even a little, not done yet. And this was May of 2025. And yeah, this is going to continue to be an issue because, again, games take so long to be made. But yeah, Lords of the Fallen 2 is coming. I cannot wait. Hexworks, I think, learned a lot from their first one. Very buggy. They worked on correcting a lot of that stuff. And then, yeah, I have higher expectations for Lords of the Fallen 2. And you guys actually voted for The Expanse for me to review this year. And, well, we're not really getting that until 2027, which is a bummer. And so the next runner-up was Lords of the Fallen 2. So, yeah, we're going to take a look at this at launch. Thank you guys for voting. You'll be able to vote again in January of next year. Another one that was boycotted, or tried to be, was Hogwarts Legacy. Again, they've sold tens of millions of copies. Congratulations to Avalanche Studios. They're currently working on a Batman game. But yeah, Hogwarts Legacy was really good, but the boycott didn't have anything to do with the game itself. It had to do with what the creator of Harry Potter said, which was J.K. Rowling. And again, that was twisted out of context. I made a whole video about that. Oh my word, was it kind of in depth. If you're interested, that is at the end screen. Go ahead and watch it. But yeah, it just makes me not even just upset. It makes me angry that we can't have discussions anymore. That if someone disagrees, well, we have to either cancel them, destroy their livelihood, or even, off them in the process, okay, like Charlie Kirk, this is crazy. And then people celebrating that's disgusting. But yeah, the cancel culture ultimately the masses, they will decide. They will every time. And then again, part of this DEI thing, well, it's going to still go on for a while, I believe, through the rest of the 2020s. It won't be really until the 2030s when a lot of this is gone, because again, it has not been profitable. And you can only fake it until you make it for so long, until it just simply doesn't work. But yeah, we have the actress, which this did not help at all, who basically created this, posted this on her, I think it was her Instagram, which she quickly ripped off because she realized that it was a mistake. And then she also dragged in The Witcher 4, a whole nother company that probably didn't want anything to do with this. And again, this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing with. And this is going to be a mark on Intergalactic. And maybe the game is good. Maybe the gameplay is fun. Maybe the world and story is interesting. But again, it's like, why would you mar the thing that makes you money? Why would you damage your career in the name of what? I have my own beliefs, but again, the masses decide. People focus on different stuff. And yeah, the fact that not everyone's going to enjoy this video, I think it's important to talk about that it has not been about games for almost a decade now, guys. This whole DEI narrative push has just gotten worse. And again, we're just at each other's throats. And for what? Well, now, with the next gen consoles, we're not even talking about games still. We're just kind of talking about PlayStation 6 versus Project Helix versus Steam Machine versus whatever. Oh, and don't forget Switch 2. It still exists, which basically most people don't even care anymore. The sales are showing that. But what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? And then we have other games like this, like Hunter's Gathering, which, again, nobody is excited for. Another game made for the modern audience that's supposed to release later this year. Not going to do well. How could it? And then again, it's like, we're being inclusive with disability, with a peg leg. We got, different ethnicities and cultures and whatever you want to call it. And again, there was nothing wrong with this. Why not have her? She could have children. We could have a family narrative here. That would be interesting. Maybe some kind of change or shift in the world. No, we're doing this. Don't know any of these people. Don't care about any of these people. Just, what are we doing? What are we doing? The people that made this game are not these people. This was 2017, by the way, a decade ago. And this is coming out this year in 2026. And yeah, the modern audience does not buy games. They do not buy the games. They're not showing up. Okay, the internet is a lie. They do not buy the games. They're not going to buy this. Marathon, while I think it was definitely built for an audience, too big of a budget, and Bungie's in big trouble. And then again, some of the focus, some of the art direction, people just didn't like. Can't even physically handle it because they have physical symptoms with like migraines and headaches and stuff. But some people say DEI too. Yeah, that's not really here or there for me. I don't really overly care. But yeah, this type of stuff is blatant. And again, there's nothing wrong with women. There's nothing wrong with making some type of story. And again, if this is such a big issue, why not just have character creators to just remove the problem? Why can't we do that? I think that would be easy enough. But again, they don't want to do that. Why don't they want to do that? Part of it is to push this narrative. So yeah, this is washing away whether you like it or not. And if you don't care, hey, kind of join the club. But I can't ignore that we've had this massive push. And again, I understand this video is not going to do very well. But we have got to stop pretending that politics and video games is fine. Because when it's one-sided like this, it's not okay. When it's pushing a narrative and there's money behind it from governments to push that narrative, no, I don't think that's okay at all. Because we're not wanting people to have free thought. We're wanting to indoctrinate. And that's a major problem, especially as a dad that has children. I'm quite sensitive to that. The other thing, too, is I think talking about politics, I think talking about oppression and other issues in the world with humanity, I think that's healthy. I think Blueprints does a wonderful job. The reason why nobody talked about it is that almost nobody has gotten that far in the game because the puzzles are too hard or they quit early or whatever. And that's okay. I'm not saying skill issue or anything. It's just the fact that people haven't gotten that far to understand that the game is actually quite political. And it's really good. It's done in an amazing and wonderful way. But this is not how you do it. And again, we're just chasing money. That's all this is. This is not how you do it. Trying to cancel, it's not how you do it, guys. And again, ultimately, the masses will decide. All of this is completely falling apart, and I think it's wonderful. I don't think indoctrination is okay. Whether it's outside of video games or inside video games, I don't think it should exist. I think things and products should be made for the players and the characters, okay, and the stories and the gameplay and interaction. I think that should be the focus. Games should be games again. They should not be a medium in which to send your particular real-life narrative. Okay? Nobody cares. People have their own problems. They have their own things that they're dealing with. Most of us couldn't really care less about what somebody looks like or where they came from. Okay? Because nobody cares that about us. I mean, let's be real. Nobody really cares. And this has got to stop. And thankfully, I think it is. I think it's wonderful. Again, if you're interested, we're going to be doing Lords of the Fallen. I don't think we have a release date yet, but we did get some kind of a teaser earlier this week. So yeah, stay tuned for that if you're interested. Like and sub, all that jazz. And if I've earned it, go ahead and keep the vid in the algo for me. It's quite difficult. Maybe I should make a video on that too, but it's getting worse to actually try to get views and stuff. And the algo has become extremely aggressive. And basically to start seeing consistent stuff from your feed from certain YouTubers is that you need to watch their vids every so often. You need to basically like, subscribe, or bell notification, and then also watch like 3 or 4 in a row, okay, or pretty consistently during that day or throughout kind of the week. And if you don't, again, that stuff just gets completely ripped out of your feed, and then anyway, yeah, is whatever else is pushed, because again, YouTube and Google, they're looking for that money. So if you haven't seen my videos for a while, go ahead and go back to the channel if you're interested and take a peek. Again, there's various content every single week. So with that, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.
A, avoid negative sources, people, places, things, and bad habits. B, believe in yourself. C, consider things from every angle. D, don't give up and don't give in. Don't let a damn thing get you down. E, enjoy life today. Yesterday is gone and tomorrow will never come. F, family and friends are hidden treasures. Talk to them and enjoy their riches. G, give more than you plan to give each day. H, hang on to your dream. I, ignore the bullshit. J, just do it. K, keep on trying no matter how hard it may seem. It will get easier. L, love yourself first and most, love God always. M, make it happen. N, never let them see you sweat. O, open your eyes to see everything around you. P, practice make perfect. Q, quitters never win and winners never quit. R, read, learn, study about everything important in your life. S, stop procrastinating. T, take control of your own destiny. U, understand yourself first so that you can better understand others. V, visualize it. W, want it more than anything. X, you already marked your spot in the world. Y, you are unique, wall, God's creation, no one can replace you. Z, zero in on your target and go for it.